Hello, hello, good day everyone, and welcome to the show where you can bring our Chika everywhere you go. Chika2go! I'm your host, Darlene Axalan.
Princess Catana.
Zhermaine Dioso.
And I'm Sarah Ella. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our talk show, serving you morning tea.
Ooh, and we're so thrilled to be here to spend the morning with each other and, of course, do what we do best, and that is Chika. On top of that, we've also invited some guests that will join us today for our segments. But first, let me ask my co-hosts here. Princess, how are you today? Or better, how was the traffic?
Hmm.
Thank you so much for asking, Darlene. I am doing great actually, but the traffic on the other hand, not so much.
Oh no.
I am really glad and honestly surprised I got on set on time. Oh my god, the morning traffic congestion was as stressful as ever. Imagine I had to wake up 4 hours before our call time just so I can be here on time.
I can relate, Princess. I use my own car and it takes me almost forever from Parañaque to get here to our studio in Manila during rush hour. But I still can get away from the traffic. How about you, Sarah? I'm sure you also have your fair share of difficult experiences when it comes to transportation.
South to north. Oh my gosh, Zhermaine. But yeah, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I also use a private vehicle, mainly for comfort, convenience, and safety, of course. But I would be more than willing to use our public transport system or the public vehicles that we have if there's a way that we can offer this same comfort, convenience, and safety to the general public.
That's true.
I agree with you, Sarah, but with today's condition, I feel like we have a long way to go to achieve those 3 points. Anyways, with that, let us dive into our topic for today's episode, which is about none other than the public transportation system here in the Philippines.
A little fun fact for you all before we call on our guests. Did you guys know that Metro Manila public transportation is statistically recognized to be among the worst? Imagine
What?
guys, worst not only here in the cities in Asia but also in the globe. Metro
Uh-oh.
Manila was ranked 58 out of 60 cities in the Urban Mobility Readiness Index last year.
Disappointed. But honestly, I am not surprised. Hearing the topic itself makes me tired already.
Yes, and with how it went last year, it was indeed expected. And with how it's going this year, should we expect another?
Oh my god.
I know, right? And surely, this study took into account the quality of public transport, especially the commute speed and of course the affordability.
It's really unfortunate for everyone, especially the working class.
This is why we are here today to personally hear their first-hand experiences regarding the Philippine public transportation because joining us today are students who we now call experts in commuting. Everybody, please welcome Miss Margaret, Miss Maureen, Dadivas, and of course, Miss Barrameda. Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you guys here, especially on such a busy day. I know all of you are busy in your ACADS, but how do you guys feel?
Well, we are also very glad to be given the opportunity to share one of a kind stories.
Same sentiments. I wish to be able to speak for the general public through my own shared experience.
That's true, I agree, and I hope by the end of this, people will be more enlightened about the current state of our public transportation system here in the Philippines.
Oh, love the energy. Seems like all of you have very high spirits today. Also, because I can feel the sincerity from each and every one of you. I can tell that this is going to be an exciting and fruitful interview. And I'm sure that all of us here and our viewers are very excited to hear all your stories.
Yes!
Our guests are looking so fresh and really excited, Darlene. I feel like they'll be the ones serving the morning tea. So let's start. Are you guys ready? Okay. All right. So this is Chika2go. But before we really begin, I want you guys to take a deep breath. Let's go. Inhale. Okay. Because for the first question, this one is just a warm-up, but how much time do you guys spend for your daily transportation to school?
Well, I actually wake up very early to avoid traffic for jam-packed LRTs. Usually around 4 or 5 a.m.
What?
or an 8 a.m. class. But I guess even if I wake up at those hours, we have like thousands of people who do the same. And from there, it's when it all felt like a real life experience of the maybe the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I agree. And as for me, considering the distance of my home from school and with the expected slow and congested traffic, I also usually start my day already at 4 or 5 a.m.
That's so early. Probably you still want to stay in bed at that time, right? Alright, let's hear it from Kym. What about you?
Actually, pretty much the same as Marga and Mal. Hi, it's really tiresome. I barely get enough sleep already.
Of course, because I noticed that none of you guys get up at 6 a.m. or later. Why is that? Care to share?
It's because 6 a.m. is already considered as a rush hour based on what I have observed.
Interesting. Now, given that you guys spend so many hours commuting, how was it? Are there any good experiences? Or if none, what about bad ones?
This is the morning tea. Just kidding, but you know, there could be days where mishaps are likely to happen when I commute. Like, there's this one time when I had a slight misunderstanding with a jeepney driver.
Oh my
Wait, pause. Did I hear that right? You had a misunderstanding with the jeepney driver. So what was it like?
Yeah, so let me explain that. As you all know, we're a student and we have a discount in any public transportation. So my fare in a jeepney is only 22 pesos. And a while ago, I gave 50 pesos to the driver and my change was 20 pesos and my original change was supposed to be 28. Kym, have you experienced this kind of situation?
Actually, yes, but I only ride the jeepney sometimes. I often ride the LRT, so I usually experience the broken down train carriages and the rudeness of other commuters.
Do you experience it every day? I think the problem in LRT or even in MRT and the Philippine National Railways or PNR is that they don't keep up with the maintenance of the train carriages. This is where the delays often come from.
Yes, you're right. The broken LRT is very often experienced, but the rudeness of the people is almost every day. Like, they don't line up as an excuse to avoid the crowd, and I also noticed that they don't even respect the elderly or PWD, which should be the utmost priority, don't you think?
I honestly think that they should replace the broken LRT train carriages, or at least keep up with its maintenance. In order to avoid delays, or better yet, the government should consider expanding the train network system across Metro Manila and neighboring districts to ease the traffic situation. How about you, Margaret? Do you use public transportation or you have a private vehicle?
Me? Well, yeah, most of the time. Even though we have our own private vehicle, traveling is still stressful because of the traffic congestion. Sometimes I also ride the bus, even if our if our car is in use. But same with this Zhermaine, I can't escape the traffic, whatever vehicle I use.
Ah, I see. It's interesting how you guys talk because it feels like you guys experience it all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there are times where you guys are in a rush and things just don't go your way, right? But at the end of the day, we all just want to let out or maybe to speak out and do something about it. Now, how about we switch things up?
Yes!
I think, Darlene, these students are already experiencing what they've heard of when they are kids, right? Also, I agree because it's a beautiful day, the sun is shining brightly outside, and it's time to deviate a bit from the unfortunate experiences and, jump to Zhermaine. Where are we going to jump?
Your most unforgettable one.
Right? Right? As students, it's probably inevitable to have a fair share of funny, memorable, and even embarrassing moments during the commute, especially if you do it often, right, girlies?
And maybe they can share their first time experience commuting too, for sure.
Now that you guys said it, I actually remember a pretty recent one.
Let's hear it, Kim. Don't be shy. We won't judge you. Promise.
So here's how it went. I was running a bit late for class, and mind you, it was a major. So instinctively, I had to throw myself in on the first jeepney I saw. I was sitting beside the driver while I was fishing for my wallet in my bag. But when I looked, I realized that I forgot to bring coins for my fare and I only have a whole 500 peso bill. It was a Monday morning, so I really panicked. And well, I don't want to do the whole 1, 2, 3 thing because, of course, number one, it's bad. And another, I'm literally beside the Kuya driver. So I mustered up all the courage I could get at 5 a.m. without proper sleep at that to ask him if he had any change for 500 pesos. And I said that while we're the only people inside the jeep. After that, he gave me the biggest side eye. He was judging me so hard, which I think I really deserve.
That's crazy. And then what happened after that? Did you really pay him 500 pesos? Like that whole yellow bit?
After I asked him that, I mentally begged and prayed to every saint or divine entity I know to somehow give me some sort of miracle because I needed it the most at that moment. So I plopped my bag beside me to look for smaller bills, and mind you, I had to dig down all the way to my notebooks to find like at least an overlooked 20 peso bill inserted. When I suddenly heard something clink in my front pocket.
Suddenly what, Kim? What was that?
The exact 10 pesos I needed for my fare. Oh my god.
Whoa, you must really be lucky that day, no?
Right? My prayers actually worked.
I'm sure Miss Kim used all her luck cards during the day. I'm sure you pretty got so nervous. So I'm still can't get over to your story. But let's hear it from Miss Margaret and Miss Mao. What are your most unforgettable moments?
Yeah, God was definitely on Kim's side that day for sure. Well, for me, yeah, I have one of the affairs. All I got was that I tripped and fell on my knees as soon as I got off the jeep because I didn't wait for it to stop. Great. Like I heard other passengers gasp in horror, and just as soon as I gathered all my stuff and my senses, I got up and ran like I was competing in track and field for like maybe a marathon. And in order to protect my remaining inner peace and please my reputation, I didn't even bother to look back.
Yes, I would feel the same way. But, move on as they say. So, let me also share mine. There's also this one time when I rode the jeepney. I was so exhausted since it was already past 7 p.m. and the traffic was so congested. I fell asleep and I accidentally went past my stop, and I swear at that moment, all my sleepiness was suddenly gone. It was so embarrassing. So I just pretended that I meant to go down the next stop. And I had to ride another tricycle to go back home.
Your stories are great, clearly unforgettable. But I can say that what you guys felt was exhausting. Those are unforgettable ones, but please be extra careful next time.
And next up, girlies, it's time for Chick Fair. We asked our social media followers what are the things that they want to see or experience differently through their everyday use of our country's public transportation, be it jeepneys, buses, trains, or even TVs. We want to know your opinions and reactions regarding it. Also, to our dearest viewers or watchers, do not hesitate to let us know if you can relate and use the hashtag #ChickRelate so much so we can feature it in our next episode. Okay, so let's dive into our first question. Ever since I started using public transportation again, my main concern was jeepney drivers who would go beyond the minimum fare, even if you already claim that you are a student who deserves a discount. What usually happens is that if you happen not to pay the exact amount, they would take advantage and get more than the usual amount, or worse, they do not give you change at all. Care to share any advice to help prevent this situation?
I could actually relate to this. So I think that in order to avoid this kind of incident in the near future, make sure that you have enough money for your fare in the jeepney. Not too much and not too little. Don't be like me. It would also help if you would show your ID to them as proof that you are a student, because there are others who would take advantage and pretend to be students just to get a discount, which is quite unfair for the driver and for us, actual students.
Yeah, I relate. And I've also experienced that. And although I'm aware that I can't prevent it from happening, I seem to have figured that asking the driver nicely for the correct change usually works. And just don't shout at them. I like to think that sometimes they just genuinely forget about it. After all, it's hard to multitask, trying to compute and give the passengers change and then driving at the same time. That's a challenging task if you ask me. Also, there were times that I decided to just let it slide and just think of it as my help to our hardworking jeepney drivers. So that's the reason I don't mind paying a few extra pesos from time to time.
Well, actually, same with Mao. I think the best way to prevent that is to just ask them politely. Since obviously they're already stressed because of the situation itself. So let's just not add up to that stress level.
Yeah, I agree. They exhausted already, but they have to do it for their family. But it remains a cycle. So for the next question, it's just a hassle when a public vehicle that already has a full passenger would still accept more passenger to the point that it already gets so crowded and overloaded. Got any suggestion to stop this from happening?
This one is quite tricky. I feel like this issue could be dealt with better if, first and foremost, several improvements are to be made and implemented in the system itself, and at the same time to procure better cooperation between the system and the commuters through proper discipline.
Well, for me, I guess there are things that we cannot really control from happening. But if you ask me, I think that maybe safety should be prioritized as well as the comfort of the passengers. I know that they're trying their best to make ends meet, and I completely understand that. But the safety of the commuters shouldn't really be compromised. Like, there are times I remember that when I ride the jeep, like the traditional ones, and I feel like I'm fighting for my life back there because I was just holding on to the safety handle the whole ride. And if it stops, you just lose balance and sometimes it hurts. Like a lot. But sometimes it isn't really the driver's intention to do so, since the driver might not notice that there aren't any space left for new passengers. In this case, the best thing we can do is to start by politely informing them that the vehicle is already full. Saying it politely is necessary, of course, to avoid maybe quarrels and misunderstandings.
I agree with that, Miss Margaret. Safety should be prioritized as well. And I also like the idea of having better cooperation for the transportation system by having a proper discipline, right? So, thank you for that, but we're not going to end this yet. On to the third and last chosen question from our followers. Since we're all girls and women here, as a woman who rides the LRT or MRT a lot, do you have any tips on how I can ensure my safety, especially when the train is packed with people?
Mm, Well, from one woman to another, I prefer and would absolutely recommend riding the passenger carriages of the train that are designated strictly for women, which is, I think, they're placed at second and third carriages. And while it is usually more crowded than most, it is regularly monitored by lady guards, which helps ease my mind a lot when it comes to my safety and, of course, comfort as a female commuter.
Yes, that's a great tip. I actually do that too. And as for me, the only advice that I can give is to always stay vigilant and be mindful of your own surroundings. Secure your wallet, cell phones, and other gadgets inside your bag if you're carrying one. And it would also help to keep a mental note as to where the guards are usually stationed, and as well as to be aware of where the fire exits are located inside the station.
Okay, guys, to be honest, I did not know about the train carriages for women before. But now that it has been mentioned, I'll try to look for it this weekend. If I ever get the chance, of course. But anyway, for this chick, what you think? I'll be the first one to share. So, I think that one of the major challenges is the lack of alternative modes of transportation available to the general public. Because currently, our public transport system is dominated by jeepneys, buses, and trains like LRT, MRT, and PNR, right? And as we all know, these can be unreliable due to traffic congestion, train delays, and other inevitable events.
Yes, and it can also be uncomfortable and unsafe as mentioned from our conversations earlier. But in my opinion, it would be greatly beneficial if we can have a wider train network stretching it towards our business districts such as in Makati, Ayala Alabang, Taguig, Pasay, and all over.
I know that we have a few train stations situated along this area. However, during rush hour, the swarm of exhausted and stressed workers and students will squeeze themselves in the already compact trains.
Yes, and since Princess mentioned it, I feel like I want to go to Makati. But it's a sight that will make almost anyone wonder if there's something that the government is doing to ease this problem, right? And I'm not talking about the band-aid solutions that we're receiving, like road widening programs or designated PUV or PUJ lanes, right? So it's just enough time that we improve the system and stop focusing on the symptoms.
With that, please take care of yourself and prepare your coins next time. And to our viewers, take notes. Remember those advice and suggestions that you just heard. But before we end, first, I would like to thank our guests again today, Miss Margaret Luna, Miss Maureen Dadivas, and Miss Kym Barrameda, for actively sharing their experiences and opinions about public transportation. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah, we all had a great time. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
We are all so glad that we got to share our experiences. I'm adding one check to my bucket list once I get home.
Yes, so that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed today's topic. This has been Maria Darlene Axalan.
Has been Princess Catana.
I'm your host, Zhermaine and Dioso.
And I am Sarah Ella, and this is Chika2go. Good morning and have a great day, everyone. See you all next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.